Bienvenidos, fans of all things freakish! This is Jaime En Fuego for another installment of my Tales from the Crypt coverage here in the month of October, my full series coverage that is, and this is Enfuegotainment, where I cover the hottest entertainment with an edge, and with 93 episodes of Tales from the Crypt and 31 days in the month of October, 3 a day, 1 Bueno, 1 Malo, and 1 Feo. Seemed like perfection. It was destined, my friends. Goodness gracious, we are getting close. We are getting close. And in this episode, we're going to be segueing into the 6th season. And let's just get right into the Bueno, the Malo, and the Feo. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Starting off, we got the Bueno. And this is one that I vaguely remembered as a kid. I definitely know that I saw it, but I couldn't remember exactly, the specifics of it, or, even the climax. I was like kind of trying to rack my brain, but yeah, it's called Halfway Horrible. Yeah, that's right, man. And it basically has to deal with this guy played by Clancy Brown, who you will recognize from tons and tons. He's done so much television work, so many like genre films. He was in Pet Sematary 2. He was the Kurgan in the original Highlander. He was in Starship Troopers as one of the sergeants, and he actually voiced that same sergeant in the Roughnecks like CGI animated show that they did. And that's something else to mention. He has done hundreds and hundreds of things as far as like voiceover work for like cartoons and video games and stuff like that. And he is also very notably going to be seen in Duncan Jones. That's right, David Bowie's son, who directs films under a pseudonym. He's going to be in his film Warcraft coming out in 2016. But yeah, man, Clancy Brown is a shrewd, shady mofo in this. He has gone down 6 years prior to when the film starts into the Brazilian, like, I guess, like rural rainforesty type area or something, and he's dealing with this tribe, and he does something very dastardly to obtain one of their, I guess, tribal secrets, so to speak. And he goes and takes this secret and forms his own company where he's trying to get the FDA to approve this preservative that he has that he alleges will allow food to never go bad. It'll be like good forever, and he has a very amusing yet chilling line early on where he says everyone's got an evil side, it's just about learning how to keep it on a leash, and that speaks volumes about the type of character that Clancy Brown plays here, man. And so, big thing to make mention of is that this script was adapted by a guy named Gregory Wyden, or Gregory Whidden, I don't know, I'm probably mispronouncing that, and this is from a Vault of Horror issue, which was under the EC umbrella, Tales from the Crypt being the flagship title, but there are tons of other spooktacular ones that William Gaines put out under EC Comics. And so, yeah, this one was adapted by Wyden, and he had done previously, like, he sold his first script when he was still in film school at UCLA, when he sold the Highlander script, so he wrote that. He also wrote the script to Backdraft. He wrote and directed The Prophecy, underrated movie, man, with Christopher Walken in it. And so, very capable hands here. The gore gets good at times. The performances are kind of chilling. Just the story arc of Clancy's character, man, is pretty crazy, and yeah, the climax is great. So this is most def the Bueno episode today, and head and shoulders over the other two. Now, the second one, our Malo episode, is actually going to be one that I had heard good things about, and I was curious about it. It's more of the slapsticky type of Tales from the Crypt episode, whereas the previous one that we were just mentioning, Halfway Horrible, yeah, is definitely more of the chilling and serious variety. But yeah, this next one, the Malo today, is called Let the Punishment Fit the Crime. That's right, and this one has Catherine O'Hara, who you will know from like pretty much every collaboration between Eugene Levy and Christopher Guest, the Waiting for Guffman and The Best of Show and For Your Consideration and all those different movies where they do so much improvising and stuff. And then who can forget her as Kevin! Yeah, the mom in Home Alone. And so, yeah, and then also Beetlejuice, can't forget that. So she is a very shady, she's like an ambulance chasing lawyer who's like shady about everything, very shisty, suing pacemaker companies and then not allowing people to actually get their pacemakers, and just basically, she's the epitome in the early 90s of the just sue crazy mentality that America had found itself caught in the midst of, and I would imagine it's only gotten worse as the years go by. And so she has committed some sort of crime, and she's in this, she's like at a jail, and they're gonna like, court her from the jail to the courthouse, and it's all like, there in the same premises, and she can't figure out what this town is that she's at. And so she's courted from like courtroom to courtroom to courtroom, and her public defender is Peter MacNicol, who everyone knows. You know, I always think because my parents watched Chicago Hope, he was on that show, but dude, everybody knows him as Lord Vigo. Yeah, the guy at the museum in the second Ghostbusters movie that was just obsessed with this crazy guy and this crazy painting and trying to, you know, steal Sigourney Weaver's baby and stuff like that. It was an interesting role and one that was very iconic. So he's this goof-tastic public defender that she gets, and she's like, I'm a lawyer, I don't need a public defender, you know, and her performance is good. It's, you know, as I said, more on the scatterbrained goofball side, and, you know, MacNicol puts her to shame, but so do all of the other strange characters that she meets as she's, you know, shoveled from courtroom to courtroom throughout this. And once again, you have Russell Mulcahy coming back, the Australian music video director turned filmmaker, you know, who had done quite a few Tales from the Crypt at this point. He's apparently one of the go-tos for, you know, Gil Adler, the producer of the show right now. And so they had done People Who Live in Brass Hearses, along with he had done Split Second, the one about the lumberjacks that I thought was way better. And so he teams with the writer who wrote As You Sow with Hector Elizondo, and The New Arrival, which I still think is the best one that he did, you know, with that creepy Zelda chick from Poltergeist. But anyway, so yeah, you've got two veterans of the Tales from the Crypt show as far as writer and director coming together for this one. But yeah, it was just, you know, I kind of caught the vibe of what the twist was going to be pretty quickly, and I think you guys will too. This is a non-spoiler review, and so that's why this is the MALO. It's not god-awful, but it's definitely just kind of predictable, and you figure out, at least if you're a perceptive viewer, pretty quickly what's really going on here. And for that, it was bad, you know, at least for me. It just, you know, despite oddball kind of humorous performances from, you know, MacNicol and O'Hara, it just, at the end of the day, did not work for me. So that's why it gets the bad distinction here, man. It just, yeah, it was just not very good. So, muy malo. And then for our last installment of the day, for the feo, for the ugly, it is an episode called Till Death Do Us Part. And whereas the Let the Punishment Fit the Crime, like we were just talking about, that was the first episode of Season 6, this last episode that we are discussing today, the feo, is the final one from Season 5. So yeah, as I mentioned, we're making the crossover here. And so you basically got John Stamos, that's right, Uncle Jesse, and we all know him from the Full House, and he's supposedly going to be in this Fuller House that I am very scared to see coming out here soon. But yeah, since that was a nostalgia show for me, I'll probably watch it. Now that's scary, right? And he's hooking up with Kate Vernon, who most people will recognize from the recent Battlestar Galactica revival that they did. And she's like a cocktail waitress at this place that Stamos, that Uncle Jesse, and his much older mobster sweetheart frequent constantly. And that mobster sweetheart, who apparently, you know, offed her husband and has all this money and is totally cutthroat, she's played by the chick from Private Benjamin. Yeah, that one that had Goldie Hawn in it. Ms. Eileen Brennan, who is Ms. Goldie Hawn's commanding officer, or should I say Mrs. Kurt Russell. But yeah, she had this iconic performance there. I believe she was Oscar nominated for it, and when she reprised the role, she had, you know, lots of attention that came, you know, through Emmys and through Golden Globes when she played the role again a few years later. And so yeah, the chick's got acting chops. She did All in the Family, Taxi, Magnum P.I. She's done so much TV, so much film work, and she is regrettably no longer with us, so rest in peace, Ms. Brennan. But yeah, she gives kind of a chilling performance in this as the mob boss chick, and Stamos is doing the very typical Tales from the Crypt thing of messing around on his lady, you know, with this cocktail waitress chick. And of course they get found out, but the twists and turns of what transpires are quite cool, and they're what really bring the feo here, is that, you know, when you think something's going one way, and then you think something's going another way, and, you know, I have given that distinction for the feo before, but hey, Tales from the Crypt is all about the twist, man, and when the twist is ugly and unexpected, that's when you're just like, okay, that's the type of, you know, kind of craziness, the type of like Bueno feo. That's good feo. You know, feo can be of the MALO variety or of the Bueno variety. It's just when something is really kind of different than expected or much more gruesome than expected or whatever. And this one definitely delivered in spades, guys. And writer-director W. Peter Eliff, whose name I'm probably totally butchering, adapted this from an issue, I should say, of The Haunt of Fear. And he was the writer responsible for stuff like Point Break, most notably, and also Varsity Blues, and he adapted Patriot Games, you know, that Harrison Ford vehicle with the, I believe that was a Jack Ryan character, if I'm not mistaken, you know, one of many different guys who has played that different character. But yeah, you know, it was a pretty good episode, especially the twists and turns, and, you know, Brennan's mob henchmen are played by, like, Sylvester Stallone's little brother, who's like a crooner who had a song in, I believe, Staying Alive, and then you've also got the dude who was on Wonder Years as the coach, and he was also the hologram doctor on Star Trek. Which one was it? Voyager. Yuck! That's a scary show. I'm telling you, possibly the worst. Although, you know, now that I think about it, Enterprise might have been even scarier. The one with the Quantum Leap guy on it didn't even make it more than a couple seasons. So yeah, honestly, Till Death Do Us Part, pretty damn good, man. Far superior to the Let the Punishment Fit the Crime, and almost as gruesome good as our first installment tonight, Halfway Horrible. So there you have it, guys. It's time to wrap things up on my Tales from the Crypt coverage here for Enfuegotainment. You can find me doing all sorts of scarific goodness all year round on thehorrorshowchannel.com. It's just like the address you're seeing below. And then you can always find me, so let's hook up on social media. Let's talk films and cinema and all things spooktacular. I'm at Jaime En Fuego on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, just like you're seeing below. So I extend the grande gracias, guys, and I look forward to the 24th installment of my full Tales from the Crypt coverage coming mañana. So until then, adios, sin amigos. We'll see you soon.